As Sam Wilson desperately tries to root out an international smuggling ring, will old friends become new enemies? Well, let's hop into the pages of Captain America, Symbol of Truth, issue number 3, and find out together, shall we? So then, picking up from where the last issue left off, Sam Wilson, Cap, and his impromptu partner in superheroing, Wade Wilson, Deadpool, had been stopped at the Latverian border by strongman dictator Victor Von Doom. Doom reads off a laundry list of crimes that our two heroes are now guilty of, and honestly, this is a really cool moment because we get to see how Sam handles this situation, and it's totally different from how Steve might handle it. Steve probably would have punched his way out of the situation and never allowed himself to get taken to Doom's throne room, but Sam is different. He actually plays it oddly respectful to the leader of this nation in hopes that he can pump him for more information. Not that Deadpool is much help, though. He basically just tries to say as many lies as humanly possible in quick succession. I do love he says, yeah, we were looking at a smuggling operation. They were smuggling Topps baseball cards. That's pretty funny to me because most of the Topps executives who screwed up sports cards for a little bit ended up becoming executives in the comic book industry, so wrap your mind around that, everyone. Sam also makes the bold choice to try and play to Doom's own sense of vanity by saying that surely if there was a smuggling operation going on in Latveria, he would know about it, right? He'd want to clamp down on it, especially if they were smuggling such highly valued contraband as Vibranium. Doom claims to have no knowledge of any of this, saying the only smugglers he was aware of were smuggling in much-needed food and medicine. After all, Latveria is suffering from American sanctions right now, and they can't really say no to anything now, regardless of how it actually made it into the country. Sam says that as Captain America, policy really isn't part of the deal, but he's willing to talk to the proper people if it means he can walk away from this exchange, which Doom actually does honor the request, and Sam is allowed to leave. Deadpool has to stay behind, though, but don't worry about him. What's the worst they're gonna do? Kill him? Back in America, Sam ends up reporting to his senator buddy. This whole situation is just getting hairier and hairier the longer it goes on. They got black market super soldiers, serum smuggled migrant workers, and now black market vibranium trading. The senator thinks they need to send an envoy right away to Wakanda to deal with this problem at the source, but Sam wants to try and pursue more diplomatic endeavors. After all, Black Panther and Wakanda are supposed to be their friends, right? Now, at the other end of the story, we rejoin Joaquin. He managed to get his cousin out of that military facility before White Wolf and Crossbones attacked it. We also learn a little bit more about how this woman and her friends ended up on that train. Apparently, they were riding the bus like any other day back home in Mexico before they ended up getting gassed. Joaquin figures now is probably the best time to retrace his cousin's steps and maybe try and get to the bottom of all of this on his own, and I must say I like Joaquin getting his own little B-plots in this bigger story. Sam also tries to learn a little bit more about this vibranium smuggling operation by visiting one of his old friends in prison. Apparently this guy is involved in the new Wakanda Forever movement, and the whole thing is having ripple effects all over the place, not just in the civilian world, but in prison as well. Apparently a bunch of these Wakanda folks were able to come on in and talk to prisoners, even after the Aryan nation threw a massive fit about it. Eventually, though, they all just kinda stopped, meaning whoever's at the head of this Wakanda Forever movement is incredibly powerful and able to move in multiple different worlds. Now, how exactly does Sam's meeting with the leaders of Wakanda go? Not great. If you've been reading the Black Panther book, you'll know the actual power structure of the country is a little all over the place right now. In the old days, Black Panther probably would have just let Sam in to do his due diligence, but now the country is a democracy, and as such, he has to jump through way more hoops and red tape. The general line from the country seems to be if there is a smuggling operation, if there is vibranium going missing, then they're going to look into it themselves and make sure that any criminals suffer Wakandan justice. So yeah, poor Sam is basically back to square one right now, and the senator gets to gloat a little bit, saying they probably should have gone with his idea to begin with. It's here once again, though, Sam ends up having a really creative idea. They can't send the army and they can't send Captain America without threatening to start an international incident, but what if Sam just went himself? The Wakanda Forever movement is giving people actual Wakandan visas now. If Sam just pretends to be one of them, then he can get inside the country and hopefully maybe get to the bottom of this weird smuggling operation. Sam Cap better hurry, though, because his sidekick Falcon is probably going to need him sooner rather than later. Joaquin actually managed to find another bus of people that were about to get kidnapped just like his cousin did, but before he can do anything about it, he ends up getting stopped by Crossbones. You probably didn't need to be a rocket scientist to realize these kidnapped migrant workers, the Vibranium, the train attack from the first issue are all related, and all of it can be traced back to White Wolf. In fact, as we discover as the comic comes to a close, Joaquin's cousin actually managed to make off with a small piece of Vibranium for wherever her and the others were being kept. And so that was Captain America Symbol of Truth, issue number 3, everybody, and once again, I'm really enjoying what Onobuchi is doing with this series, especially getting to see a whole different side of Sam as a character. A creative, clever, outside-the-box thinking side that I don't think a lot of other writers have played around with. As Captain America, he talks to people in a completely different way than Steve would, and I like it. It's also going to be really interesting, too, to see what kind of adventure Sam will get up to when he actually goes to Wakanda. Also, how does White Wolf's plan play into the bigger Sentry game, because we know this and the Steve Rogers book are connected. In fact, it was announced at Comic-Con we're going to be getting a big crossover soon called Cold War. Overall, I'd give this one a very positive 8 out of 10. It is a great time to be a Captain America fan right now. We got 2 amazing books on the shelves, and you really can't lose no matter what you're reading. Hey there everyone, Cape Joel again, and I want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you see, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. It really helps drive engagement and helps me out too. Also, if you are a patron, which you can become for as little as $1 a month, you will get exclusive content that no one else can ever see, and you'll get to see the Comic Multiverse podcast before anyone else too. You can check out all this and more down in the description. And until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.